We are live. I'm going to make this one a little easier on myself. So I'll be right back. But I encourage you guys, ask me any questions, okay? Today I posted about Roger's Head Apothecary. I'll be right back, though. Got to get on Patreon real quick. Okay, so I gifted someone with a complimentary month to my Patreon, and she was blown away, and because she supported me a lot on TikTok. And she said to me, she's like, everything's connecting, everything's clicking now. What she say? Everything is, I'm connecting all the lines. And she's like, they had Roger's Hood on a big billboard in New York. She's like, I get it now. I know why. So I recently posted about that at Detox Deception Instagram. It's a screenshot. Lately I've been turning my comments off because that account is not to give me more work. It's just to show you guys things that are in my Patreon mainly and drop some gems of truth that I'm not allowed to drop on TikTok. It's the like super duper first course. It's the first course of what's in Patreon. And I'm talking about that little tiny first course you get in fine dining. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to be right back. I'm going to pull up something on YouTube because I've got to get this task finished. And that's actually what I'm going to record here. It's one of the videos that I did that was on private. And I don't even know if I'm talking to anybody, but this will be available for a little while. And I need to get this on Bluetooth. So yeah, there's a lot to do this morning. Let me go to the lives here. And which one was it? Because we did that one. Right, we did that one. And the other one was really long. Really, really long. Where'd that go? Yeah, I think this was it. Yeah. Actually, I just got a microphone and I haven't plugged it in yet, so my next live will be a lot clearer. It's 9:33 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm going to get started at 9:35. There's a lot I have to get off my chest, and it is stuff that you're not. I was just thinking it had filters on it. Unless you're hearing in very, very, very. No, that's ridiculous. What the heck, you guys? John. I don't know why it would do that. Clear. This is on purpose. Alright. Alright. So yeah, I'm going to get started in 1 minute. So this has to do with... Wait a second. A new thing since the discovery of flat Earth. You know, when they told us about the 2020 jibber jabber, okay, they mentioned DNA a lot, and it's something I've mentioned a lot as well. And turns out that I was mostly on the money. I was on the money with my profession. I was on the money with what I was discovering through doing health consultations. And I was on the money with how to heal. But the thing I kept running up against was what is consistent in not just the job, but also the chemtrails, the synthetic vitamins, the synthetic drugs such as ivermectin. Here we go. I'll have to do it like this. So now that I've pushed myself into the limelight on TikTok and I've just been consistent, I've just kept going through all the censorship. I had to go on TikTok because Instagram had me so greatly shadow banned when I started my business. I could not market. Facebook banned me twice. Facebook cut off all my access to all the garage sales, so I couldn't even push my business to the garage sales. So Facebook and Instagram were a no-go, and I just couldn't market my business. And I had to downsize everything. I had to move out of my place. I had to go into like an 850 square foot apartment. I had 2 cats. I barely had a kitchen. I had 1 counter in my kitchen. I had to make false counters. And all the while, I had a huge heirloom open pollinated garden, and they wouldn't let me put any plants outside. You couldn't hang any plants out of your window. I left off at 38 minutes. Wait, I haven't even gone through premenopause. This is my story, but there's some... So... The reason I went live this day is because I had to tell people what I found. So there are some gems dropped in this video for sure that the public doesn't know. It's going to go over some heads, because when things have been drilled into you over and over and over, and you finally see something different, people just skim past it, skim past. That's why I make a case on Patreon by myself how much these synthetics were damaging cells. And as I started to establish myself as a professional outside of the system, the indoctrination, medical complex, oh my God, that smells fucking horrendous. But I left off a little bit later, so let me... Conjunction. If I'm growing turmeric, I can go out and establish myself as someone who actually knows what she's talking about. Because unless you have the word doctor in front of your name, when it comes to the very saturated industry of natural health, people will not give you credit. Absolutely. It just doesn't work that way. They will not give you credit unless you really establish yourself as someone who knows what she's talking about. The thing about doctors, what I see about doctors all the time, is that they will talk about injustices while they sell more injustices, and it happens all the time. They will cry wolf, oh, Syngenta, or this pesticide from China. All the while, they're selling you nanotechnology at every turn. All the while, they're just doing the same thing. So, and that's how they get you. They become your friend, they become your hero, so they can sell you the system. That's just, I've never seen anything different. About. Now, in today's day and age, establishing yourself for a lot of people means going with the status quo. If you are repeating things such as activated charcoal, zeolite, Sheila shit, all exposed thoroughly, fulvic acid, bentonite clay, borax, you are considered by many to be a professional detox coach. Yep. Because why? Because you are backed by other people. Because other people are repeating the same things you're repeating. So, okay, all of you guys are on the same track. You must be professionals. Because you're all agreeing with each other. So obviously you've got a leg up. But it's actually the opposite. You've been swindled. You've been swindled. So... Let's fast forward now. I continued to preach against synthetic vitamins, but I didn't 100% know why. My spirit knew why. My spirit knew why, even though I didn't fully consciously know why. Just, I knew there was more to it. I knew there was more to it because of what I kept coming up against. These people kept all having the same issues. It all came down to the cells. It all came down to the chromosomes. And that goes into my latest Patreon series, which is called DNA Hoax, which is right now in 3 parts. The reason I had to go on YouTube today is because I found some stuff from Dr. Lee Merritt. So right now it's at part 7, and we are going to be getting further into how these things are not tied to the genome. When I say this is the biggest hoax since the Earth hoax, it is. But as far as flat Earth, So many people have caught on to that. We've got flat earthers, we've got flat earth movies. This one, people have not caught on to this yet. This is hidden in a tiny, tiny corner. Okay? These things, it's not about the spike. Guys, these psyops are multi-layered. These things do not attach to your genome. And we're going to get specifically further into that in the next DNA hoax episode. That completely complements my 4th installment that will be going to my member Patreon on the DNA hoax. These things are fooling the best of them. They're fooling the most awake people. They're fooling the people that call themselves patriots that are against the system, yet somehow the system tricked them into advertising pharmaceuticals, while in one breath they're completely against the pharmaceuticals and preaching against what they did to us in 2020. In another breath, they have complete amnesia and are then advertising their drugs for the problems that their poisons of 2020 caused. Now, another lie that's been perpetrated by the pharmaceutical industry, by the likes of Merck Pharmaceuticals being one of them, who gang-stalked Brandy Vaughn to the point that all of a sudden she's not alive. She endured a long time, and she posted about all of the evidence that she had of them being inside of her home even. She was being gang-stalked. I'm sure there was voice to skull happening, which also comes through nanotechnology. And then to the point where she doesn't even exist anymore on this plane. That's the same company that tells you that that parasites are the cause of all your excuse me, CA blank 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 blank. Cancer. Yeah, it's a pharmaceutical company that wants to tell you that. Why do they want to tell you that? Because that was another beautiful way for them to get. Now, where do we see the most truth about that? We see that in ivermectin cancer cure exposed episode. Okay, parasites do not cause cancer, but our enemy is so clever for this lie. You to take their anti-parasitic detoxes. Ivermectin, anyone? Fenbendazole, anyone? Nattokinase, anyone? Or better yet, nattokinase to complement their other drugs, all from the same industry. Isn't that lovely? They had the likes of Mr. T, Trump, coming out and saying, ivermectin this and hydroxychloroquine this. And I've talked about hydroxychloroquine. There's no need for it. It's another synthetic drug. Now, like I said, this is not staying up on YouTube. So get it while you can. This will be going in my member Patreon, all right? I'm going to let you in on some secrets. What do these things have in common? And what did I hear Dr. Lee Merritt say today, which is actually recorded in June of 2024, that I kept coming across? Wow, I had to take my cursor and fast forward it past the 30 minutes, because everything she said in 30 minutes, I've already exposed to the letter in my podcast on Spotify. I was like, okay, I've heard all this. Let me drag my finger very long across. Boom, I caught a snippet. She said the bulk of... Now, what I'm about to say, what she says is going to be in the new DNA hoax episode with the documentation that these are not attached to your genome. What was in this is not even... It's not even all the extra stuff. It comes down to one thing. And it's the one thing I show in my DNA hoax, among other things. It all comes down to nanotechnology. And when it comes down to nanotechnology, what is wrapped in nanotechnology? I'll give you the answer. It's graphene oxide. And what is wrapped with that? What is synonymous with these two things? Artificial intelligence. And what is behind artificial intelligence? Demonic frequency, fallen angel. It's fallen angel intelligence. Yeah. I go into more depth on that in the DNA hoax series in my Patreon. Not just by my words, but by documented things that are... Let me stay on track. This is what they all have in common. And this is what I started. I don't even remember. My life just went so fast because being a one-woman show, doing Patreon, doing the podcast, doing my business very differently, fresh made teas, fresh made per order, making it actually safe for the family by actually growing a lot of what goes into my products with mineral-rich, living, self-cleaning soil that actually cleans out nanotechnology from the skies, which I will go into, which is actually gone into in my Zeolite Exposed in my Patreon shop, but I'm going to go into on the latest and final Ivermectin Exposed episode, which will be Ivermectin Exposed Part 12. I will go into how to, actually no, that's not going to be the ivermectin one. That's going to be the shower filters exposed extended, going into how to clean the nanotech out of your soil. Okay. They want to own every blade of grass. So they used you, the people, we the people. Really, they used you because they didn't use me. They used a lot of you. They didn't use me. Excuse me, but I'm just speaking facts. Praise the Lord. God gets all the credit. To actually put nanotechnology in your soil. So you're doing all the work. We're the foot soldiers for their dirty work. We're doing their dirty work for them because they convinced us. And who's at the top of it? Cat, Indigo, Apple is at the top of most of it. They're the think tank. And they caused a bunch of these detox nurses, these detox mamas, these crunchy moms, to go out on places like TikTok and Instagram and say, oh, you need this, you need that, you need this, you need that. So then comes the wave of binders. I'm trying to put this in a nutshell because I was really planning on being on for 30 minutes and it's 38 minutes and I know that my phone died. And part of this is going to be reading something from my tablet. So I'm going to get to that part and I'm going to now switch my charger over to that. What am I on right now? I'm on 8% here. So what they did was, this is what I was telling my mom the other day. I said, Mom, their jibby jobbers didn't work the way they wanted them to. Not enough people took them. I mean, they said it on the news. People from different states, representatives from different states were saying not enough people were taking them. They were giving crazy incentives for more people to take them. Giving money to prison inmates, giving free donuts. I mean, really? Krispy Kreme? I can make a better donut, but I can also go get a better donut from a small mom and pop shop. And the list goes on. Shortening sentences for people to get this because not enough people were taking it. So what did they do? They ran controlled opposition on you guys because our enemy is always evolving. And the problem is that our enemy is evolving so much that we're not keeping up with them. We're not keeping up. Because we think we're ahead of the game when we tell people to take zeolite. We think we're ahead of the game when we tell people to take Sheila shit. We think we're ahead of the game when we tell people to bathe in borax, Dr. Carrie Madej. We think we're ahead of the game when we tell people to ingest bentonite clay and diatomaceous earth. We think we're ahead of the game when we tell people to take activated charcoal as a binder. We think we're ahead of the game when we tell people to take fulvic acid foot soak and take fulvic acid. We think we're ahead of the game when we tell people to take no BS we're ahead of the game when we tell people to take nanohydroxyapatite. We think we're ahead of the game. And we're not. We're behind the game. We're just a little bit more ahead, but we haven't caught up yet. And because we think we're ahead, we're actually doing more of their dirty work than we even thought that we were. And that's how clever our enemy is. And that's how much we got to keep evolving with the times. So, not enough people were taking this. So, they used the frontline doctors. They used Dr. Peter McCullough exposed in my Patreon to push things like nattokinase, which gave a friend of mine who's trying to sue the company and drowning in debt now the longest freaking clot in his body when it's supposed to take care of that. He showed me intercompany emails from them. He showed me how shady they are from their emails. He showed me how deceitful they are. I go into depth on that man, and I go into depth on his supplements. Not just the ones that he pushes, but the ones that he makes. I go a little bit into Dr. Brian Artist's supplements. You see, our enemy keeps evolving. When it's popular in your face, it ain't something that rhymes with face. Okay? It's more like mace. It's mace in the face. It's mace in the face. If it's popular in your face, what does the Bible say? Narrow. Narrow is the gate. Yes. Narrow is the road. Yeah. Narrow. The way is narrow. So when it's all up in your face and all your crunchy mamas are advertising it, do you not think that Cindy Indigo Apple is not behind it? They're the ones that start the trends, you guys. When you see something trending out of nowhere on TikTok, you better understand who's at the top of that food chain. Yeah. It's time to evolve. It's time to evolve. So, let me get back to that. Not enough people were taking this, okay? I did an episode in my podcast, Casandra captioned on Spotify. It goes into graphene oxide. If you've ever listened to the study of La Quinta Columna, if you have not listened to it, I implore you to go listen to their whole study. It started out where they were only giving videos in Spanish because they came from Spain. I believe it's Spain or Portugal. But it's since been translated and you can find it. The browser that I like to use is yandex.com, okay? They found out that most of the jab is graphene oxide, okay? Now here's the thing. La Quinta Columna is controlled opposition, but there is always things to learn from controlled opposition. Controlled opposition does not work if they do not give some truth. The key is to find out which is the truth and which are the lies. Now, the whole Patreon channel, Sovereign Hippie Patreon, shows you guys the truth about the graphene oxide. It's everywhere. It is the poison. It is doing the most damage. I know from all of this that it is most of the jab. So you always have things to find from your controlled opposition. The problem is, and that's how they get people in, though. You see, that's how they get people in. Later on, I found La Quinta Columna posting things which led to nanotechnology products. So that's what they'll do is they will give you truth, right? They'll show you a really beautiful graphic and show you, hey, look at this thing getting rid of nanotech. Now go buy some monocolon K. And this is what they do. They get you to buy more nanotechnology products. If you just tuned in, like I said, Dr. Lee Merritt said it in a podcast. I've got the clip. It's coming in a new DNA hoax episode. The destructive force of the vaccine was always the nanotech. She said it in her own words. You see, we already knew this for those who have followed the videos in my Patreon. We already knew this. But I'm mentioning La Quinta Columna here because they actually were correct on the graphene oxide part. Just like Dr. David Martin, we pulled out the truth from him on DNA Hoax episode 1 and 2, okay? He told the explosive truth. But then I go in with a fine-tooth comb, you guys, and we're pulling out some of the lies. So we always have things to gain from these people. Part of it is mockery, but they cannot hook people in without giving some truth. But they're always going to wrap you back into the system, which is going to keep you sick, going to turn off your regenerative healing body, going to mute your cells, and all of these things are the building blocks of cancer and autoimmune disease. And that's why they tell you that it's parasites. Understand why I cannot leave this up on YouTube, and hopefully this live does not get cut. The majority of the jab is graphene. That is the majority of it. Okay? Now, what is connected to graphene oxide? Nanotechnology. Okay. Now let me let you in on a secret if you do not know what is included in nanotechnology. It is metal. You have to have it. It is the conduction. Graphene oxide is another conductor. But if you have nanotech, you have metal. Now let me say this again. Zeolite has been exposed in my Patreon shop tab. The thing that's been advertised for removing metal. Anything that's exposed in my Patreon, what is being exposed? It's the nanotechnology in it. Now, when I say exposed, I mean from beginning to end, from its inception onward. Okay, this is thorough. This is nothing you have ever found before on zeolite. That's being exposed from beginning to end. And I'm showing you guys how to read the language. But because when it comes to these natural medicine detoxes, there is a whole separate language. Now, a lot of us have got into the language on reading labels, and that's amazing. A lot of us have learned different languages. Like I said, whenever they use the word COVID, that's a code word for bioweapon. So anytime you hear the word COVID in news interviews, on TV, mainstream media, internet articles, especially peer-reviewed and published, anything, PubMed, anything, always swap it out for bioweapon, and then you're going to get more to the truth because it's a code word, okay? Now, when it comes to natural medicine, there's a whole new field of code words. It's a whole different ballgame. Natural medicine. Not actually natural medicine, because natural medicine is what's in my store. Natural medicine is what you're getting from your small businesses to support small business. The problem is many small businesses have been swindled, and they're now putting things like, what's it, TDS spray, all of the zeolites, all clinoptilolite, Shilajit, including Shilajit tablets, Cultivate, Elevate, who didn't want to listen to me. Your fulvic acid, Worm Queen, your fulvic acid, everything I listed at the beginning of this video. A lot of small businesses are now listing that on their store, and I call it shortcuts. They're shortcuts. These are industrial mass-produced products. They are industrial produced. It doesn't matter if it came from Wyoming. So I don't want to be on here over an hour. It's 46 minutes. I could go on and on and on. If you guys want more and you want to see more proof, subscribe to my Patreon, because I don't want to get off track. I could keep going, but the word "from" is another key clue word, okay? Every pharmaceutical starts from nature. Let that sink in. Okay, ivermectin coming from dirt. Every pharmaceutical comes from, it originates from nature, just the way Lucifer, the bright morning star, originated as a being, a real being of light. Now Lucifer is a false being of light. Now Lucifer masquerades as an angel of light when Lucifer actually came from actually being an angel of light. Now Lucifer masquerades as an angel of light. You see, the enemy cannot actually create anything. The enemy can only copy. Everything from the enemy comes from God. Everything from the enemy comes from God. So God's full nature is from God. When I grow my plants here, when I grow my 2 different types of holy basil, Tulsi, and I fresh pick them and I clean them in unadulterated, nano-sized minerals, unadulterated, meaning not taken into a lab, cleaned on a molecular level, cleaned of chemtrail residue, that is God's nature. It's not just coming from God's nature, it is God's nature. It is God's nature. It's not just coming from it. It's not, I'm not picking it and then taking it into a lab and isolating out the radiation benefits. No, I'm getting all of them. It's coming in its full form and going into my teas or going into my super immune adaptogen tonic. All right, hold on, guys. I gotta do this really quick. So this is what happened. So not enough people were taking it, and so this is the thing. In my ivermectin part, I need to get some rest. So I'm going to try and wrap this up in 10 minutes. So I'm going to spend more of this video just kind of directing you on where to go if you want to learn more. Okay, you guys. And thank you so much for joining.
Man, God bless you, girl.
I'm really happy that I'm seeing these people and likes. I don't exactly know what they mean. I'm going to learn this more. Guys, if you have any questions before I wrap up, I did see some comments on the bottom. Please throw some comments out. I will try and answer questions before I get off of this live, okay? And I'm going to try and do this more often. I will put it somewhere in the description also at some point on which days I plan on going live on YouTube. So I can do more word vomiting here. And I'll also put it on TikTok. But I'm very censored there, so I'll also put it here. And I'll put my handles. Oh, shoot. Dang. Okay. I'm going to leave this up on YouTube for one day. So today's date is Friday, January 3rd. I'm also going to save it because I don't trust them. I think they'll pull it down. It's Friday, January 3rd. I'm going to leave this up until 10:30 p.m. Friday, January 4th. It's probably going to take almost a whole day for this to upload because it's going to an hour. So I will just keep an eye out, follow me, do what you got to do so that as soon as this posts publicly to YouTube, you can see all my handles in the description. Okay, yeah. I'll also say it now. My Patreon is Sovereign Hippie. That's where you'll find everything I'm talking about there. Okay, guys. And my TikTok is Sovereign Hippie 2.0. That's the main one. That's the least shadow banned, okay? So the bulk of this is nanotech, and I show in mainly, I really show in a lot of it. So it's hard to pick one Patreon video where I show this. But nanotechnology goes and it starts messing with the cells. And they try to convince you, these pharmaceutical companies, and then they got it trending. They got people pumping it out like they actually know what they're talking about, but no. One person says it, the other person repeats, the other person repeats, the other person repeats. And it's just a cycle of followers. And it's a circle of repeaters. Instead of a circle of life, it's a circle of repeaters. It's a circle of followers. The crazy thing is that they're going by the professionals, the same professionals that caused so many people to be unalived in 2020, 21, and 22. So it makes no sense. Make it make sense because it don't make none. It don't make none sense. It don't make it. Let me learn it, you guys, something. If nobody has learned it to you before, okay? This nanotechnology, they try to tell you, oh, it's the mRNA, oh, it's this, oh, it's that. No, actually, I can back this up in my line of professionalism by all the health consultations I've done and what I've discovered. Starting off always first and foremost with God's discernment and my gift of discernment. And secondly, my pattern recognition, and then all the confirmations that come after that. And all of the headlines that have come subsequently after me being ahead of the game for many years.
Praise God.
is that it's the nanotech. It's the nanotech in this. It's the nanotech in this synthetic supplements. Yes, your synthetic vitamins. Yes, your bottle that says curcumin. Your bottle that says magnesium glycinate. Your bottle that says magnesium L-threonate. Your bottle that says vitamin D3, K2, vitamin C. All of these isolated out of nature, goes into a lab, goes through the same steps as pharmaceuticals. All of these contain nanotechnology, and that's exposed in my vitamin D3 exposed video. Then you go to synthetic drugs like ivermectin, fenbendazole, nattokinase. You know, exposed in my Patreon. Nattokinase is coming soon. But guess what? It contains a beautiful thing called CRISPR. Etc. What this does is it creates the environment for parasites to thrive in your body. And because this was the second wave of getting people to take this covertly, because this was the second wave of getting people to take this covertly, and you have your beautiful frontline doctors and Mr. T to thank for that, people started getting parasites out the butt, pun intended. And because of that, they sold you a bunch of parasite detoxes. Now, you thought it was just coming from your crunchy moms. No, it came all the way from the think tank. All of these are exposed in my Patreon, Sovereign Hippie. They all have the nanotech in them. So what did they do? Those things, those binders and those detox things that are supposed to take the metals out and supposed to take the parasites out, and they were actually creating the perfect environment for your cells to go on defense. And I mainly go into this on my latest ivermectin video, the ivermectin CAN blank 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 exposed. In there you can really see how it's not parasites that cause the CAN. It's actually what causes the parasites to be there in the first place. And that goes into depth on that. Okay, guys? And so then people were getting so many parasites. So then they said, oh, the reason you're having such harsh symptoms, oh, it's because you need a binder. So they were so good.
Ooh,
Next thing you know, 2020, 2021, you never heard of binders before, but all of a sudden, binders were trending. Now, I put a binder video in my complimentary Patreon series. Same Patreon, just go to the complimentary series, things I can't put on TikTok. And they distorted my sound, made me sound like a monster in one of the earliest Ghostbuster movies. Thank goodness I still had the original, so I replaced the video.
Oh, yeah, they did that.
The reason I put it in that series is because I knew I could not repost that video to any other TikTok account because I would get flagged and I'm already on thin ice. And those are there for my business, for my store, and for my consultations. And so then ropeworms and mucoid plaque started trending.
Mm-hmm. They had an answer for that too.
And I'm going to end the video with this.
They had an answer before it started.
I had a follower of mine who also follows me on TikTok say, hey, you really need to get on some podcasts. You really need some people to interview you. And I'm like, dude, that's what I've been saying. People need to interview me. He's like, what you have to share really needs to get around. And I said, I just hope that more people will share it. That's why I put my handle on my videos, so that people will share it. I'm a one-woman show. I'm just one woman. I've had people blow smoke up my butt. I've had
so many times
someone specifically tell me they're going to get me on that episode, and they never did. I had someone beg me to interview them and just could never give me a heads up as a one-woman show with no vehicle. I couldn't do it, but really he needs to interview me. Yeah. And he said he was recommending me to a specific podcast. And I won't say the name of the podcast, but I'm going to talk about a woman that was on the latest episode. And her name is Dr. Lee Merritt. And this is how I'm going to conclude this live TikTok. I got to exit out of this pop-up real quick. my tablet, so give me a second here. So, like I said, I was listening to Dr. Lee Merritt, and everything she said, I already knew. Everything she said, I already knew. I could just repeat. I could just regurgitate the first 30 minutes. So I took my finger and I fast forwarded for something maybe that I hadn't heard. But then I got to something else that I already knew as well. And it goes right along and it complements the next episode of my DNA hoax series, which would be DNA hoax part 4. So this is how people are getting so bamboozled and putting the biodigital convergence under their skin. And she said something very key. She said, your body resets itself. And this is something I had been preaching on TikTok for years when I was a nobody. It feels like years, probably just been 2 years. Like a resounding gong. And I just felt like I was just treading water and nobody was hearing me because everybody was just hooked onto their synthetic supplements. And then the whole TikTok commission came, so nobody gave a shit. I do not qualify for TikTok shop because I don't do certain things that it requires.
I don't pay my taxes, bitch.
I'm very much a rebel. And so people were too busy making their...
I'm not paying for genocide. Period. So I can't do the TikTok shop. You see, it rewards people that pay into this shit.
Commission off their synthetics, and they love it. They love it because it keeps giving money to the system. Whoever owns the synthetic supplements also owns the pharmaceuticals, also owns our media. It's all a beautiful, beautiful revolving door. And where was I going with that? Oh my God, where was I going with that? This is what Dr. Lee Merritt said. She said, our body resets itself. And something I said so many times that I stopped saying after a while because I got so tired of saying it, is that your body is supposed to be a regenerative healing machine. That's how God designed it. But what these synthetic supplements do that I found out in my line of work, not because anybody told me, but because I dug and I saw it and I kept coming up against it, because I truly wanted to heal people. I wasn't just, oh, I'm sure they do. Thank you for commenting. I wasn't just out for the money. Yes, we all need money. I just happened to choose a job that, hold on. I happen to choose a job that I'm very passionate about, and that goes along with my activism. My activism, which started way before my company started. That's what it's supposed to be. And what I kept running up against is that these synthetics are not allowing people's bodies to be the regenerative healing machine that they're supposed to be. And I started to understand the create the problem, create the solution. I started to really understand the revolving door with their money-making machine. You see, they give you a beautiful Band-Aid with a long con. They give you a beautiful quick fix. Oh, I feel so good for the next week or 2 or 3. All the while not knowing that their synthetics are getting backed up in your liver and your kidneys. 2 of your major detox pathways, which are huge parts of keeping parasites at bay. Do you see where I'm going with that? All the while messing with your receptors, messing with your pathways, messing with your neurotransmitters in the background, so that months or years later, after you're done taking that synthetic, you wonder why you have these issues with your kidneys. You wonder why you have diabetes. You wonder where your thyroid issues came from.
You wonder why you keep gaining weight or you can't seem to keep the weight off. You wonder why you still have fatigue. You wonder why you have skin issues. You wonder why you have an itchy bunghole. You wonder why you're going into kidney failure. You wonder why you have a screwed up gut. You wonder why you can't seem to get enough nutrients from your food. You wonder why you have a brain bleed. You wonder why you don't have the right blood circulation. You wonder, but you can't trace it back. Why? Because it's a long con and a quick fix. It's not a real fix. It's a quick fix. It's a Band-Aid, which never did shit but keep oxygen away from
It's
your
a fix,
wound.
babe. That's what it is.
I mean, it's, it's good for like a little while sometimes, but and it keeps, because of that, because synthetics destroy your gut, synthetics destroy your kidneys, synthetics destroy your liver and everything I mentioned. What does that mean? It means it's causing the perfect atmosphere for parasites to thrive, number one. And then they're able to sell you their parasite detoxes because they know. Oh, they know all about your problems because they sold it to you.
Yeah.
Oh, and they certainly know about the solutions because they sold you another problem. And they already had the solution already worked out from rooms of oval tables and big time strategies. And so then they had the binders. Oh yeah, you're getting all these symptoms because you needed a binder, guys. Be sure to take some synthetic vitamin C with that because it's not included.
Synthetic, that is.
And you can't have a regenerative healing machine body anymore because your gut's thrown off, your liver's thrown off, your kidneys are thrown off. Your liver and your kidneys are responsible for making the natural things that they call D3 and K2 that your body actually needs. Let me give you an example. Your gut is supposed to make K2. I'm going to leave a series that's also coming to my member Patreon on K2 and D3. They try to convince you that you need their synthetics to get it because it's so hard to get it naturally. That's a big fat lie. Big fat Greek wedding lie. So many, and I'm just going to give a small example. So many of your herbs have vitamin K1. Basil is a big one. Basil is really big in K1. I love Italian basil, but I also love Thai basil, and I also love holy basil. I love all three of those basils. They're amazing, and they're all three very different. You are supposed to have such a great gut and an intact microbiome in your gut that synthetics rid you of, that aspirins rid you of. That anytime you take in, for example, basil, let's just say from an amazing tea, it's supposed to go in your gut, and then your gut is supposed to convert whatever K2 your body needs, it will convert that into K2. But guess what happens when you keep taking synthetic supplements? Okay, think about your vitamin bottle that says, methylcobalamin by B12 or whatever that is. Cyanocobalamin, okay? Absorbic acid, okay? These are all synthetic. They're destroying your gut so that your gut cannot then make K2 while they sell you K2 supplement. Same thing with D3. Your liver is supposed to convert vitamin D into D3. I believe it's your liver. It might be your gut as well. It doesn't matter because the synthetics are destroying all three of your detox pathways, all three of them. And these people wonder why they have such bad parasite problems. And guess what they do? These people know that the same people that have been dependent on the synthetic vitamins are going to also be dependent on their drugs as a solution for the problems that the synthetic vitamins caused. And we wonder why we have a big old class of dummies and a big old class of smart people, and the chasm is ever widening.
Yeah. Wow, bro. Wow.
So like I said, someone recommended that I go on this podcast. I listened to this podcast. I listened to Dr. Lee Merritt. She said everything I already knew. And then she continued to say what's going to complement my DNA hoax. It's going to go into part 4. I've already basically said it. I've said a lot of it on this live that will not stay up on YouTube. Once again, my Patreon is Sovereign Hippie. My TikTok is Sovereign Hippie. I will leave this live up for probably just a half a day, so that's probably it. Because then I'll just get another live on YouTube, so probably. But maybe a whole day, I can't promise it. So write that down if you need. If you didn't catch it and you want to learn more, ask me in the comments. I'm going to get off in 5 minutes. The podcast host said that Dr. Lee Merritt, even though we are completely on sync on everything, she said what I said, that it's the graphene oxide, it's the nanotechnology, that's the real poison. That's the real poison. That's how they took this and went covert with it and put it under your skin. And what it does is it controls people. It has a whole life of its own. You guys saw the self-assembling, most of you probably saw the self-assembling parasites. If you go look up ropeworms on yandex.com, you'll probably come across a tab that says, ropeworms thrive with genetically modified organisms. What is in genetically modified organisms? What's in GMO foods? Oh, ding, 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 you guessed it, nanotechnology. Okay, it might be longer than 5 minutes actually. So apparently Dr. Lee Merritt talks about her own parasite protocol. All right, let's look at it. Here it is, fenbendazole. Oh, it has the same thing she just spoke out against, nanotechnology, exposed in my Patreon. What's the next thing? Ivermectin. Oh, you guessed it, ding, ding, ding. Going on part 12 this week. What's the next thing? Nitazoxanide. Oh, that sounds natural. Not. More nanotechnology.
Wow.
Well, guess what? She's a doctor, so she's part of the system, and she's recommending the system. Oh, that doesn't make sense at all.
Right. Damn, that's
So
good.
that's what I run up against, because I have to keep these people, I have to keep seeing people falling for this, and it actually genuinely bothers me. I talk about the Joe Tippins protocol in my Patreon as well. Now, here's a kicker.
Listen, very interesting insights on the Joe Tippins, people unalived. It's so interesting.
Earlier today on TikTok, AI gave me such a hard time trying to promote my wakey coffee replacement tea that I was comparing to the mushroom coffees. And while it doesn't have mushrooms in it, the body benefits are just as good. I guarantee it. They're just as good. Okay.
And there is the new Rise and Wakey that actually comes with cordyceps and an 8 ounce of the vanilla bean coffee syrup with actually natural sugar. We've actually covered that sugar deception in one of the latest DNA hoax series. It's crazy. They want you to get cancer. So we do have the Rise and Wakey with cordyceps mushroom, hippiehappening.com.
In my opinion. But I just added a drop down for cordyceps mushrooms where you can add that for an extra energy boost and to get the mushrooms. One of the things I said about that.
And guess what? It does not have L-theanine. All right. So completely non-synthetic, no nanotech. So when you get these coffee products, these coffee replacements, a lot of what you will find is theanine and L-theanine. This is isolated out. This is synthetic and contains nanotech, which means it's not a healing product. All of my products are going to work to heal the body, bring parasites out, and protect against reinfestations, which, by the way, ivermectin does not do. It can't do because synthetics can't do that.
Is that my wakey tea for me causes me to drain mucus from my brain immediately. Now, if you were around in 2020 and you were really paying attention, where's one of the areas where the poison, root word for virus is poison, the poison, Where's one of the places where it congregates the most? The brain. Okay? What is the main part of the? It's nanotechnology. Okay? Nanotechnology in the brain. Okay? Part of our lymph system goes all the way to the brain. So this nanotech is also getting in our lymph system. So when I take 1 to 2 sips of my wakey tea, I immediately get a lump of mucus come out of my brain, down to my nose, into my throat, and then I spit it out. And something that I tell people to do is always spit it out. Why? Because a lot of the nanotech is concentrated in our mucus, and that's also shown in my Patreon, Sovereign Hippie. So, one of the consultations I've done is for autism. Since that consultation, and autism is really hand in hand with any neurodegenerative issues, autoimmune, they all connect. They all connect. One of the things they connect with is nanotechnology. The other thing they connect with is damage to the cells. Once again, sickness is pleomorphic and manifests in different ways. And since then, I have updated my autism trio, and I have greatly helped this woman and her child with my autism trio. I go into really deep research for these things. I don't just make these things willy-nilly. I actually truly want to help people. I actually truly want to heal people.
So much that's a burden.
What did I say in the beginning of this YouTube video? Nanotechnology messes up your cells. Now, what did I just say now? One of the things it concentrates in is the mucus, okay? Here is another parasite protocol that's on the same page as Dr. Lee Merritt's parasite protocol.
Wow, this was long.
This woman's name is Andreas Kalker, and it might not even be a woman. It could be a man. And let me scroll down here. And then with this, I'm going to conclude this live. If you have any questions, now is the time to ask. When to start the parasite protocol, blah, 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 blah. Okay, it's a he. He says we need to do it during the full moon because that's when the most nematodes mate in the intestines. Okay, that could be a thing. But it's not a thing when you're recommending things that cause more parasites. That's when I could give 2 shits. So keep scrolling down. I'm on this link that I'm going to save. This is AnneMarieMichaels.com/parasite something. Keep scrolling down. 90-day protocol. Maybe we don't have to do the full 90-day protocol every year. Listen, when you're eating real food and you're taking God's medicine and you're upgrading your proteins and your dairies and everything, and you're doing organic, you're not doing GMOs, nobody actually needs a 90-day protocol. Maybe like 7 days, like go hard intense, maybe twice or 3 times a year, but it should be a lifestyle. Keep scrolling. Here it goes. Kalker writes, and this is where I'll end it, and I'm going to show you guys a photo. This is also exposed in my Patreon. Children with autism and most chronic, and I already knew this, by the way. I just never heard anybody say this regarding the mucus, okay? But in my autism trio, you are getting out nanotech, big time, and you are restoring your cells. Nanotech messes with the cells. Children with autism and most chronically, among other things, children with autism, this is in quotes, and most chronically ill patients have excess mucus that is often hard to identify, resembling a dead ascaris, you'll see it, or according to some, intestinal mucus. Oh yeah, they're professionals, but they still don't know what it is. It's a mystery. Nobody knows what it is. I'll read that again. Children with autism and most chronically ill patients have excess mucus that is often hard to identify, resembling a dead ascaris, ascaris, or according to some, intestinal mucus. Intestinal mucus over 1 meter long have been found, and it is unlikely, that these belonged, all right, I can't end this until I get this back up so I can show you guys. What did I say? AnneMarieMichaels.com? Dang, all right. It says it is unlikely that these belonged to something. And then it shows a big picture of what they call ropeworms.
Yeah.
All right, you know what? I'll just end it at that. I told you guys the link. It's annemariemichaels.com/parasites. And I was on Yandex.com. I found that by looking up Dr. Lee Merritt parasite protocol, I think is what I looked up. So you guys can actually find this yourselves. But it shows this, not only does it say the thing about the mucus, which is consistent with everything I already know and have shown with autism and any other things, because there's just there's just so much. Like I'm gonna stop because I could keep going, but 1 hour and 17 minutes is gonna take forever to upload to YouTube. But they show this picture. Oh God, here it is. I'll show you guys. And what I'm gonna show you guys is what they are calling, well, they called it here intestinal mucus. Other people will call it ropeworms. Other areas will call it mucoid. This is detached intestinal lining.
Detached
from
intestinal
poison.
lining. Yeah, from poison.
More on that in one of the ivermectin exposed episodes in my Patreon, but it's detached intestinal lining is what it is. And it's falling in people's toilet. Let me pull this up again. And where does that come from? None other than nanotechnology. What is intensified in our mucus? What is, what's that word? What is concentrated in our mucus? Nanotechnology, as well as our blood. What is consistent with this little part of this page? Mucus and this picture, both of which nanotechnology cause. And she's speaking of autism. Okay? That is not a parasite. That is not a ropeworm. That is not mucoid plaque. That are people's intestinal linings falling off, detaching from their body. And with that, I'm going to conclude this live. So thank you guys for joining.
That was extensive.
Because
Wow.
I'm so glad that you heard the contents of this video.
Wow.
And I hope you run with it. I hope you pay it forward. I hope you tell more people. And God bless. And until next time, cheers.
Well, I could have been working on products. That is crazy. That was a lot of patience right there. Wow. All right, that concludes this live. This live will be available for at least one more day. Please share it. Pay it forward, guys. You know what an issue with a lot of people is? They don't want to share these things because they're outside the norm and they're afraid they're going to get judged. That's an issue. That's an issue. And people don't learn.